Dear students, welcome to our YouTube channel Vidya for Success. In this video, let us study few concepts on the lesson Structural Organization in Animals. Yes, children, in this lesson, you already studied regarding the different types of animal tissues. So, sir has explained you about the animal tissue. So, you have studied from epithelial tissue to till neural tissues. So, all these are the tissues can be seen in animals. So, you already know the meaning of tissue, and in the animal kingdom, we have studied a few examples of animals. Like we studied the organism belonging to the Porifera, then Coelenterata and Ctenophora. So, there we can observe all organisms are not showing organs and organ system. Because in the Porifera we have seen their body is organized by different kinds of cells. The level of organization is cellular level of organization. In the Ctenophora and in Coelenterata, the organism is showing tissue level of organization. So, the level of organization in those organisms is primitive level of organization, so that the organs are completely absent. So, if you move to the organism belonging to little higher phylum, we can see organs and organ system. Understood? What do you mean by organ? How the organ formation takes place in the organism? Organs are formed by the organization of tissues. So, what are the tissues we have studied here, from epithelial tissue to till neural tissue? All these tissues are organized in such a way to form organs. So, you take human body as an example. In our body, we have number of different organs. Heart is one organ, kidney is one organ, liver is one organ, stomach is one organ. So, like this, all these organs are actually formed by what? They are formed by the organization of tissues. So, different kinds of tissues are organized to form organs. So, many organs, they in turn associated with each other to form organ system in the organism. Understood? So, many organisms in the body, they are interconnected with each other to form a system called as organ system. So, take the example of digestive system in our body. So, why we are calling it as a system? Because that is formed by the association of many organs. So, many organs are present in the digestive system. So, it starts from the mouth and it connected with the esophagus, then stomach, then small intestine, large intestine, like this. All these parts are nothing but organs. So, many organs are connected here in order to form a complete digestive system. So, if you take each of the organ in our digestive system, it perform unique function. So, stomach perform one function, small intestine perform one function, large intestine perform one function. Like this, each and every organ perform its own function. So, finally, it helps in the digestion of food, because the digestive system function is digestion of food. Clear? So, each organ in that system perform different function, and finally, it achieves the digestion of food particles. So, there are many organ systems are present in our body. So, we have digestive system for digestion, respiratory system for respiration, and circulatory system for circulation, and excretory system for excretion. So, like this, each and every function is performed by a particular system. So, that system is made out of many organs, so that it is called as organ system. So, many organ system organized to form an organism. So, higher organisms like human beings and other higher invertebrates, they consist of organ system level of organization, because their body consists of different organ system to perform different functions. So, each organ in our body is made of one or more type of tissues. So we have already taken the example of digestive system. So I'll take the same example here to explain how actually the organs are formed. So just take the example of stomach. Stomach is one organ. So that particular organ is made out of different kinds of tissues. So stomach need protection, right? So protection is given by epithelial tissue, and as we know, because the digestive system is an organ system, it consists of many organs, right? So one organ need to be connected with the another organ, or one tissue need to be connected with the another tissue. So connective tissue is very essential here. And we know stomach helps in digestion. It need to move, contraction and relaxation need to be takes place, so that will be takes place with the help of muscular tissue. And obviously the neural tissue also present, because any neural signal need to be sent to each and every part of the body, so that will be takes place with the help of neural tissue. So all the four different types of tissues, they are organized in each and every organ. So they are properly arranged in order to form organ. Understood? Yes. When we study the different group of organisms, we can say that the organization of body is not same. So as I gave you the example of organism belong to the Porifera, Coelenterata and Ctenophora, they are completely different from the other higher animals in the animal kingdom. Clear? So by the study of different organisms, we come to know that the body organization is not same, and the organ system is also not same. So this will give you an idea about how the evolution has happened on the earth. So always the formation of organism takes place from simple to complex. So cellular level to tissue level to organ level to organ system level. So like this, the evolution, gradual changes takes place among the organism. So that gradual changes is nothing but what? Evolution. So the gradual changes leads to the formation of new species on earth. So here in this chapter, now we will understand how the organ system is organized in different group of organism. So for understanding the organization, so we are going to study the morphology and anatomy of earthworm, cockroach and frog. So frog is a higher vertebrate organism. Cockroach and earthworm are invertebrate organism. So by studying the anatomy and morphology, just you can compare how the body organization is there in invertebrate and how the body organization is there in vertebrate organism. Just you can compare their body organization and you can understand the evolution process in a better way. So let us start study about the morphology and anatomy of different group of organisms. So here we have one of the organism to study morphology and anatomy is earthworm. So earthworm we have commonly seen, right? So this is the animal can be seen in the soil. The habitat of this animal is soil. So if you observe the animal is reddish brown in color. So it is a reddish brown terrestrial invertebrate animal. So why it is called as invertebrate? Because it does not consist of vertebral column. So because of the absence of vertebral column, it is considered to be a invertebrate, and that inhabited to upper layer of moist soil. So in the park or in the garden, on the upper layer of soil, we can find these animals. So why they are present on the upper layer of soil? Because the humus is present. So where the humus content is more, where the moisture content is more, there we can see the presence of these animals, right? So in the morning, They live in burrows made by boring or swallowing the soil. So they will always bore the soil and they make burrows and they usually live there. And they are very helpful to the farmers because they feed on the dead and decaying plant waste and they enriches the soil fertility. So we will come to know how actually they enriches the soil fertility in the coming classes. So these animals are invertebrate. They are very useful to the farmer for enriching the soil nutrient. And commonly in our India, we can find two species of earthworm. One is Peritima and another one is Lumbricus. So Peritima and Lumbricus, these are commonly seen earthworm in our country. So now let us understand about the morphology of these. So what do you mean by morphology? So morphology is nothing but the study of external features of organism. So here we are actually studying about the external feature of the organism. That means for appearance, what are the things can be noticeable in the organisms? Those things we are studying here. So that study is called as what? Morphology. So what is the shape of the organism? What shape does earthworm is having? You can notice in the diagram, the animal is actually looking cylindrical in shape. So the earthworm have long cylindrical body. So the body shape is more or less cylindrical shape. So it is having long cylindrical body. And the body is divided into 100 small segments called metameres. We can observe in the diagram the entire body consists of many segments. That means many compartments are there. They are repeatedly present throughout the body. So each of these segments are named as metameres. So there are 100 to more than 100 number of segments are actually present here. So like how the train consists of number of compartment, in similar way the body of earthworm made out of number of segments. Segments are nothing but repeated units. So these repeated units in the body of earthworm named as metameres. So you have noticed, right, the earthworm. So if you have not noticed, you observe carefully the body, you can find the number of segments. So because of the presence of segments, we are considering this animal as annelids. So annelids is a phylum consists of segmented animals. So earthworm is the best example of segmented organism. So the dorsal surface consists of dark median dorsal line. So you can find the two surface area in the earthworm. So the back side of the animal is called as dorsal surface. The front view is called as the ventral surface. So there are two surface area can be find, dorsal surface and ventral surface. On the dorsal surface, on the back side of the body, we can see dark median line. So one long line will be running from first segment to till last segment. That is clearly noticeable in the earthworm. So that middle line that is running from first segment to last segment on the dorsal surface is named as dorsal line. So this is one morphological character. So when we observe the dorsal surface, we can easily find the dorsal line. And on the ventral surface, we can find the presence of genital pores. So the distinguishable character on the ventral surface of the animal is the presence of genital pores. So small openings will be there on the ventral surface. So those genital pores are very essential for the process of reproduction. So you can find those pores on the diagram. So the diagram actually we are observing on the screen is the ventral view of the earthworm. So on the ventral surface we can find the genital pores, small pores on the ventral surface, those are named as genital pores. So there are two genital pores can be seen, male genital pore and female genital pore. So mouth is located at the anterior end. And one thing you need to understand here is the animal consists of two ends. The one end is called as anterior end. Anterior end is the end where the animal consists of mouth. Understood? And the another end is named as posterior end. Posterior end is the end where the animal consists of anus. Clear? So anterior end and posterior end. And two surface area we can found in the animal. One is dorsal surface and ventral surface. So in the anterior end, one of the lobe-like structure can be seen in the earthworm. That lobe-like structure is named as prostomium. This is very important terminology. So prostomium is a lobe. This lobe actually covers the mouth. So mouth is a small opening present towards the anterior end. So mouth, we know it helps in intaking of food. So earthworm actually swallow the small soil particle together with the dead and decaying plant waste. So that opening, small opening mouth is covered by a lobe-like structure called as prostomium. That is the one function of the lobe. So prostomium covers the mouth. And the one more function performing by the prostomium is it helps in digging of soil. So the prostomium is a wedge-like structure. It is a very solid structure. And this well helps in digging the soil. So it makes small openings in the soil and it will enter into the burrows. So prostomium is a wedge-like structure. It helps in the digging of soil and it is a sensory organ also. So some of the changes in the external environment can be easily detected by the earthworm with the help of this prostomium. As the earthworm is a segmented animal. So it consists of 100 to more than 100 number of segments. So the first segment in the earthworm is named as peristomium. So the terminology what we are using for the first segment is peristomium. So peristomium consists of mouth. So mouth is located in the first segment of the earthworm. So what terminology we use for the first segment? Yes, that is peristomium. So peristomium always consists of the small opening called as mouth. So most of the time students get confused between peristomium and prostomium. So don't get confused. Peristomium is the first segment of earthworm. Prostomium is the wedge-like structure that helps in the digging of soil and also that covers the mouth. So if you see the matured earthworm, we can see the presence of dark band that will run from 14th segment to till 16th segment. So that dark band is actually formed by glandular tissue. So because it is made out of glandular tissue that will secrete some of the fluid required for the process of reproduction. So that dark band is named as clitellum. So what is the actual position of clitellum in the earthworm? It is present from 14th segment to till 16th segment in the earthworm. So that dark band can be seen in the matured worm and that can be named as clitellum. So the presence of clitellum help us to divide the earthworm body into three different parts. So the region of the earthworm present prior to the clitellar region is named as preclitellar region. So some of the segments in the earthworm present before the clitellar. So that region is named as preclitellar region And where exactly the dark band is present in the earthworm, that region is named as clitellar region. And next to the clitella, the dark band, all the segments are named as postclitellar region. So all the segment just below the clitellar region comes under the postclitellar region. So the clitella, that means the dark band, is actually help the dividing of animal body into three different regions. So one is preclitellar region, and another one is clitellar, and the third one is postclitellar region. So these are the three prominent regions can be seen in the earthworm. Then, if you see the ventral surface of the earthworm, we can notice four pairs of spermathecal apertures. So these apertures are actually present in 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th. So from 5th segment to till the 9th segment, we can see pair of aperture. Those apertures are named as spermathecal apertures. So these apertures are also very helpful for the process of reproduction. So we will come to know about the function of these structures in the upcoming classes. When we are studying about the reproductive system of this organism, we will understand the actual function of this aperture. So now just understand the position of the spermathecal aperture. So there are four pairs. Four pairs are nothing but 8 numbers. So 4 pairs of spermathecal apertures are present. They are situated from 5th segment to till 9th segment. So they are present in which surface area? Ventral surface, not on the dorsal, ventral surface. So there are pair of male genital pores present on the 18th segment of the ventrolateral side. So the place where we can see the genital pore is the 18th segment. So exactly on the 18th segment, on the ventrolateral position, we can see the small pore that is named as male genital pore. So for the reproduction, that means in order to remove the male gametes, these pores are very essential. So the pair of male genital pores are present on the 18th segment. The position is ventrolateral. Then we can also find many pores. Many pores, they are very essential for the excretion. So those pores are named as nephridial pores. So nephridial pores are present on the ventral side. So they are present in all the segments except the first and last segment. So except these two segments, first and last segment, in all the segments of earthworm, on the ventral surface, especially on the ventral surface, we can find the pores. So those pores are nothing but nephridial pores. What is the function of these pores? They helps in excretion. Clear? And we can also find the locomotory structure in the earthworm. So locomotory structure is nothing but what? Setae. So setae is S shaped. The shape of the setae is S shape. So S shaped locomotory organ can be seen. It is completely embedded in the epidermal pits in the middle of each segment. In the middle of each segment, we can see the presence of S-shaped structure. Those structures are nothing but setae. So it helps in locomotion. So the principal locomotion is takes place with the help of setae. So these are the structures can be seen on the ventral surface of the earthworm. So children, in today's class we studied regarding the morphology of earthworm. So what are the things we studied? So we studied about the segments in the earthworm. Then we understood what are the structures present on the dorsal surface and ventral surface, and we understood regarding the clitellar region, and we also understood the three different regions of earthworm, and We studied where actually the spermatical apertures are present and what is the segment consist of male genital pore, and where we have nephridial pores, and what is the locomotor structure. So these are the few morphological characters can be seen in the earthworm. So you have to practice the diagram, children. So diagram is very important. So you learn the diagram with labeling. Yes, I hope you understood today's class. Yes, thank you.